Hey guys, Corey here on the Hip Kit Club YouTube channel with a new process video for you. Today I'm working on the Friday challenge, which this Friday is a recipe challenge. And so what you're going to need for this, if you want to play along, are photo corners, 2 or more photos, 3 papers, something shiny, a multi-font title, a frame, and use some stitching. So you can always go over to the Facebook group and download that stuff again because it'll be posted over there. So hopefully you'll play along. So anyhow, I was going through, this is the last page I'm doing using the March 2020 hip kits. And so I was going through that and I found this this Project Life card that had these 3 frames on it. And I was like, that would be so fun for my frame. So I printed photos small enough to be able to fit inside the little squares, and that's just kind of where I'm going to start this whole page. This is a big recipe challenge, and so I usually go through it actually before I start working on the page and kind of trying to pull out different elements from the recipe challenge, because having especially this many things, I would forget, for one, what all I was supposed to be using, and obviously then I wouldn't be doing the challenge. And also I kind of like to have a game plan. It's just not something I can come up with on the fly. So I did go through, and like this frame thing, this was a great place to start. So I was really happy with that. So when I had first cut them apart, they just didn't seem to work right, and I kind of actually just wanted them all a little bit different. So the first one I kind of very loosely fussy cut out. It's not like super tight on that edge, but a little bit. The other one I just trimmed up really, really tight to the frame, and then the last one I'm going to distress the edges. I kind of liked how it all worked together, and just doing each of them a little bit different just added a little bit of almost embellishment for me. So I am going to use foam dots to pop the photos up off of the back of the frames. That way little things can get tucked behind just a little bit. Adds a little bit of dimension too. So my first thought was to have them all going down the page like this, and then I realized that I actually liked it going across the page better. And then it would also make it easier for me to kind of incorporate the 3 different pattern papers that I chose. So I have this one, and what I wanted to do was kind of highlight the blue that's in the photographs. It's like that pretty teal color. And so I wanted to highlight that with my pattern papers and stuff. So I picked out one that has the teal stripes, a different one that's got pink. It looks like kind of like pink notebook paper stripes. And then this last one, my favorite part of it was where it had the numbers going down the side. So I wanted to be able to show those as well. So I'm just going to layer my papers together and give it a nice little base for my photos to go on. I did use some of the scraps from another project that I did, so using up those papers as best as I can. These photos were of my 16-year-old and one of our dogs, and honestly, I think everyone's getting a little bit slap happy, and while she would much rather be taking selfies with her friends, since she's unable to see her friends right now amidst the social distancing requirements, she's taking photographs with the dog. The dog, though, was not as amused as she was, and they're just kind of funny. And I just thought that they were, I don't know, just kind of cute and funny, and definitely things that I wanted to keep. I did snatch these pictures from her, though, so I'll give her the photo creds. I did not take them. She took them, and I say I stole them, but she gave them to me willingly. So once I had this down, I realized that I felt like I needed more blue on the paper. So I'm just using like this really inexpensive watercolor set that probably came from Target or something like that. This is just something that would be in anybody's stash or in your kid's stash, for quite honestly. This is like just kid paints, nothing special, and it's really just to get some blue on the page. The color kit for this month did not have blue in it, so I figured I would just use something that's like very generic to get just a little bit of blue on the background paper. Of course, adding some splatters. I feel like those just kind of always go with everything. And then I just decided too that a little bit of pink would be good, so I am using the embellishment mousse. You add just a tad bit of water to that and it can splatter just like watercolor paint can. So I did use a little bit of the March color kit as well. So once that is all on there and dry, because while I have my hot glue gun, I'm actually out of hot glue sticks, so that's not working. So I did want to make sure it was nice and dry because I am using liquid glue, and if the background's not dry, the liquid glue does not really work. It'll just tear the paper up and it just not so great. So, all right, so of the recipe challenge, I've used my 3 papers. I've got 3 photos, which is good, and then I'm using photo quarters basically to just kind of layer behind, and then I did use a couple of smaller ones on one of the photos, but they're great little, especially the large ones are great layering items, just to add a little pop of color sneaking out from the back of those photographs. And then I've got my frame, so I'm still needing something shiny, my multi-font title, and some stitching. The stitching I feel like is probably going to be pretty easy because I'm going to just stitch my title down, so that's not going to be too difficult. But everything else I want to make sure I get on this page as well. So my title, I'm going to use, there were 2 different fonts in, well, I think there's actually 3 fonts that came in the March kits, but I'm going to use these 2. So it's going to say dog selfies. Selfies, the thickers that I'm using for that one, they're actually shiny. So they're kind of like this nice glossy white, off-white a little bit. So those I'm going to count as something shiny. I do go back and I use some other things as well that are shiny. But I feel like I've figured out that one requirement right there. So I got my sewing machine here and I'm going to stitch down my title. And then while I'm doing that, I decided that I was going to go ahead and add just some stitched lines above and below the photographs, just to kind of give it a little bit of dimension and like some texture on the paper. It's something I sometimes like to do just to kind of add a little bit more stuff, and I feel like it looks kind of fun, and it's breaking up some of the white space above and below the photographs. So that's why I did that. Once all of that is ready to go, I put the date on, and I'm actually using just these number embellishments, and then in between I'm actually going to use a little enamel dot to put it the 410. And I realize I didn't put the year, but I will add that later just to kind of keep things straight. And then in this little phrase die cut thing, it says there's sunshine in my soul. The sunshine's actually done with a metallic gold, so there's a little bit more shiny there for you. So as I'm going through this, now I'm just going to start embellishing my page with some different little items. I feel like everything for the challenge is on there, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So now I can just have fun, getting things on there and making the page be embellished how I like it to be. So I saw this stamp, and it's like a date stamp. So it says day of the week, day, month, year, and I thought that was kind of cool. And so what I actually do is I put it on upside down over this photo, and I felt like that was kind of like very kind of just a sentiment to the days that we've got right now, because every day just kind of rolls into the next, and I say that a lot, that it's melting together, because it's like, what day is it again? Oh, I don't know. So I felt like the upside down was kind of like a great way to kind of just be like, does it really matter what day? One day is pretty much like the next. So I'm gonna, I did use the glittered thicker to put my daughter's initial on the page. I want to make sure that I always have their initials on the page. And then I'm just going to use some different tags and things for different embellishments and layers underneath the paper. I'm also using these little phrase die cuts, like Hello Gorgeous, and then I'm going to use a couple of different stickers that came in the embellishments also. So one says Good Times and another one says Living the Dream, which, you know, I think in the grand scheme of things, it's all kind of funny and humorous, as well as accurate. And then use this other one that says You Are Crazy Wonderful. I am going to make sure that I get some journaling on this page as well, once I've kind of got all of these little stickers here and there spread out. After I get done with this page, I did add a flamingo to it because I just thought it was really cute, and I wanted to have this flamingo on it. That's not on camera. I actually added it right before I took the photographs of it. So if you see the finished product and you're like, wait, that wasn't there, it's because I added it later on. So I do have my story there on this page. And then once that's on there, guys, my page is done. So here it is with the flamingo and a few little details here and there. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys play along with the Friday challenge. Make sure you head over to the Facebook page to get the recipe again and to play along. Thanks for watching. Bye.